It's a very interesting time in football boots because we as consumers aren't just obsessed with new releases, we're also really into new tech and new concepts and things that are easy to get excited about, but at the same time, we're also very much critical of colorways. And sometimes a new boot can come out that's really good, but if the colorway isn't right, we just don't care. And I think this boot that I have for you today is a perfect example of a football boot that maybe had this negative light shone upon it. The Made in Japan Mizuno Rebula Cup, seen here in the not that new but still current Ignition Red colorway, which as you can see is extremely vibrant and significantly better looking than the launch colorway, bearing a retail price of $300 US. Mizuno being one of those brands that I've always cheered for because I feel like they really do an excellent job in terms of execution, both in terms of build quality as well as materials used. And they're also one of very few brands that understands and knows their customers and tries to appeal to them whenever they put out something new. In the case of the Rebula Cup, however, despite a subpar launch colorway, if we're being honest, it was also one of those boots that had somewhat of a negative reception because of the model it replaced, the Rebula 3, which was an excellent pair of football boots. This was arguably a step backwards from a tech perspective, but now that we've had almost a year to reflect on this particular football boot, I think something that I've always tried to do on this channel is be willing to change my perspective and even change my opinion in certain cases. And I think in the case of the Rebula Cup, this is actually a really solid pair of football boots that did not get the attention that it deserves. So with that in mind, I want to do a quick little breakdown of what these boots are all about and why I think they're still one of the best options if you're looking for something with a kangaroo leather upper, as well as some interesting technical features. We'll take a look at how they fit and feel on feet and effectively cover everything there is to know. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around and watch the entire review. And if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, while the retail is very steep at $300, you can get them on sale in just about every single colorway by clicking the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find exclusive SR4U coupon codes to pick these up well below their normal retail price. As always, if you guys do end up enjoying the video and want to see more reviews of smaller brands like Mizuno on the channel, don't forget to support this one with a like. And I've also noticed that a lot of you guys who watch these reviews aren't actually subscribed to the channel. If that's you, it would mean a lot to me if you could hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. Really quickly, I just want to comment on the colorway because I think it is part of the reason why the reception on this model was so poor to begin with. This, of course, being called the Ignition Red colorway, which it is kind of red, but it's also kind of orange. Regardless of what you want to classify this color as, it's very bright in person. So if you're looking to stand out, it's definitely going to do that for you. And as far as the design is concerned, there's not a lot of contrast breaking up this red. What you're going to find is a black tongue, the Mizuno Runberg logo on the lateral side. That's very subtle in terms of it just being filled in with these black lines that eventually fade to white. I love the little design element of the side of the sole plate kind of flowing into what is like a thinned out pinstripe towards the heel. You have one more Runberg logo there, the FT grip branding right there on the medial side, and then the sole plate is just mostly more of that bright orange with some black detailing. All in all, it's a much better looking colorway than the launch. Now, I mentioned my willingness to change my opinion, and that's not because I just woke up one day and decided I'd like to make a video talking positively of the Rebula Cup, but I think when you're reviewing a football boot, you have to consider the boot as a whole, but you also have to consider what other options you have from other football boots that are out there that are of a similar style. And if we break down the modern leather football boot category, you have the Nike Tiempo Legend 8 Elite, which is a very good boot in terms of objective performance. They're quite comfortable, but in my opinion, a little bit lacking in terms of the leather touch on the ball aspect, which is ultimately the most important in this style of boot. You have the Copa Sense from Adidas, both the Laceless Sense Plus and the Lace Sense Point 1, both of which feature very little leather on the upper, and in my opinion, just aren't the most comfortable boots in the world. Not a great comparison to this. And then you have the Puma King Platinum, which is a great pair of football boots, but it trends more towards the speed boot category in terms of its overall fit and kind of thinner touch on the ball, because the kangaroo leather on that boot, while there's plenty of it, really doesn't have much of a padded feel. It is extremely thin, which kind of leaves you with the Rebula Cup if you're looking for a pair of football boots that A, have a leather upper, and B, have that kind of modern tech and feel to them without feeling like, again, kind of a thin pair of speed boots, which so many football boots have trended towards in the last 3 or 4 years. Like so many modern leather football boots, the Rebula Cup is not entirely made out of leather. The part that is kangaroo leather is what you're going to find here at the front. The seam is right here on the lateral side, and then it runs all the way through the forefoot and toe box area and then cuts off at pretty much the same point here on the medial side. Could there have been more leather? Absolutely. I'm going to maintain that same criticism that I mentioned in my first review, and it does seem like there's less leather overall on the Rebula Cup versus what there was on the Rebula 3 that came before it. Nonetheless, the leather that Mizuno have provided, as you would expect, is top notch. It is some of the nicest leather you'll find on a pair of football boots, and the modification in comparison to their other options with leather uppers are the memory foam inserts that you can very clearly see on the surface of the upper that provide this really unique dampened sensation on the ball, but somehow manage to also not take away from the feel. I know a lot of people really complain about modern football boots not offering any form of protection when you get stepped on in the toe area. This is probably the most protective boot in that area in comparison to just about anything else out there right now, and the touch on the ball isn't compromised. So it does have that classic leather softness and touch, but at the same time, the modern, I guess, modification of having the dampening from the memory foam, which is pretty cool. And then while there isn't a ton of leather, the segmentation, or I guess the transition is a better word to use here, between the leather and the synthetic is relatively smooth, in that you don't feel the seam here on the lateral side. The midfoot area is a thinner synthetic material, so there is that contrast there. But on the medial side, which is going to be making contact with the ball significantly more often, you can see does maintain those memory foam pads and really does give you that nice cushion sensation while having the benefit of a synthetic material through the midfoot, where the boot just ends up fitting a little bit more snug, the material is not going to overstretch, and of course the boot's just going to overall have a much more responsive locked-in sensation when you're actually playing in the boots. And then something that's also interesting about the synthetic is that it has this FT grip coating, which basically means that the upper is much stickier than you would expect it to be. This is the second grippiest upper element you're going to find on any other football boot, only behind the demon skin spikes found on the Predator Freak line from the Addy brand. The amount of additional grip provided by the synthetic material on both the lateral and medial side is actually pretty surprising. Across the top of the foot, pushed slightly to the lateral side, you're going to find a nice deep lacing system that allows for plenty of customization in regards to how tight the boots feel pretty much across the entire foot. And then something that we very rarely see in modern football boots these days is a standalone tongue, which is made from this really thin kind of microfiber material with a little bit of a mesh portion to it as well. Nonetheless, I really like the idea of just having a normal tongue. Moving to the rear, you're going to find a pretty standard low-cut design with a general shaping that's kind of along the lines of what you'll find from the Morelia series, but a little bit more padded towards the top area of the actual internal liner. That does have this really soft suede material that grips your socks nicely. They just do a really good heel liner, Mizuno, on their MIJ products. And then the insole, that's fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. It features a pretty standard mesh lining on the surface, and then it's made from a single layer of this white foam. And then moving to the base, you're going to find the best sole plate that nobody seems to care about. This, for me, is my personal favorite sole plate, simply due to how natural it feels when you move in this boot. When your foot flexes, the sole plate moves perfectly with your foot. And the way they did the flex groove is a little bit unique in that the stiffener bar actually runs on the lateral side of your foot, similar to the bone structure of your foot. And then the arch area is where it has this ability to flex. And the sensation of running in these is just unlike any other football boot. It just feels right. It's the only way that I can describe it. It doesn't have the fancy responsiveness and kickback of some of the, I guess, more high-tech speed boots that are out there right now. But in terms of just natural range of motion and flexibility, nothing feels quite like this. And then the stud pattern is as good as just about anything, despite looking pretty ordinary. You're going to notice that it's a combination of conical studs as well as kind of these oval studs that have a little bit more of a bladed effect to them. But despite looking quite ordinary, you actually get pretty good bite when pushing off in almost any direction, and for use on natural grass, the traction is well above average. Which brings us to the weight, where I don't think many people, based on how these look, would expect them to be very light, but they are. In a size 9.5 US, you can see that the Rebula Cup weighs in at 7.0 ounces, the equivalent of 199 grams, which, if we compare that to its competition, these are significantly lighter than the CopaSense models. They're lighter than the Nike Tiempo Legend 8s, and they're even lighter than the already very lightweight Puma King Platinum. So, in comparison to the competition, the Rebula Cup is lightest in class. So here they are on feet, looking incredibly bright, and like I mentioned earlier in the video, at least in my opinion, this colorway looks significantly better than the launch one. And I also have them paired up with some black Pure Grip Socks Pro, which, for those that don't know, is my own brand of grip socks. This new Pro variation just came out. It features an updated material over standard Pure Grip socks, and they're available now for just $16.99 a pair in either black or white. If you're interested in trying some out for yourself, the website to visit is puregripsocks.com, which of course will be linked down below. Now, as far as how these fit and feel on feet, they are very comfortable, as you'd expect a made in Japan Mizuno boot to feel. And I think what I like about the Rebula Cup over the Rebula 3 that it replaces is the out-of-the-box comfort. While this maybe isn't as technical looking, the kangaroo leather at the toe is incredibly soft. It has that nice padded feel to it. And then the synthetic material they've used through the midfoot has this really nice kind of flexibility and softness to it, despite, I guess, the material looking not as premium or as technical as what the previous generation had. The central lacing system with the standalone tongue really gives it that traditional feel, and also a very customized sensation when you tie the laces tight, because it has less of a predetermined shape through the forefoot and midfoot area. And in general, out-of-the-box comfort, I think, is very good. Also, again, Mizuno, one of the best heel liners in the business. As far as width is concerned, they have some decent width to them, to the point where these are football boots that I think are going to fit just about anybody, even if you do have wider feet. And then as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order some for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, and unsurprisingly, I think the Rebula Cup is a very underrated pair of football boots. And like I said in my initial review, I think Mizuno's thought process in this replacing the very popular and well-received Rebula 3 is that was a football boot that was maybe trending too close to what the Morelia Neo series had on offer, with the leather at the toe and the thinner synthetic pretty much used everywhere else. With the Rebula Cup, you're still getting that kangaroo leather, which is a signature of Mizuno, but you're getting the modern tech in the form of the memory foam inserts, the FT grip through the midfoot, the Soleplate, the stud pattern, the lightweight construction, the build quality that you expect from a made in Japan product, but you still get that traditional leather touch on the ball that I think is very important to have in something that is supposed to represent a modern leather football boot. That is the category that this football boot is a part of. And I think, again, when you compare it to its competition at this very moment, it's one of, if not the most attractive options in this colorway, because the first one was pretty ugly. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair for yourself, first link down below, go ahead and check that out. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to ask them down below in the comment section. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.